just happened to me that, well, shouldn't happen to anybody. I did everything I could to avoid it, but it happened anyway. Didn't take long, either. 2 weeks ago, everything was fine. Yes, sir? It was just 2 weeks ago that I got that phone call.
Mr. Robbins?
Yes?
Mr. Radford is calling on line 1.
Oh, all right, thank you. We'll finish this later.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yes, Mr. Radford. Oh, fine, thanks.
Robbins, we have an opening for an office manager in our Lake City plant. Now, as you know, it's a small operation, but nevertheless, it's a responsible job. We'd like for the man to come from your office. To be perfectly frank, we'd like for him to run that one the way you run yours. Now, give us your best man, Robbins. If he succeeds, you'll get the credit.
And if he didn't succeed, well, we all know who'd get the blame. So I had one obvious problem. Which man to send? Actually, there were only two who really qualified. Harry Stevens, our oldest and most competent employee, and Bob Randolph, comparatively new, but very promising, a man with a lot of potential. Well, for 2 weeks I studied these men. I weighed the merits of one against the merits of the other. Bob Randolph, with only 5 years on the job, had proven himself time and again. University graduate, a hard worker, and always willing to accept responsibility. Bob has a warm personality, gets along well with everyone in the office. He's a nice appearing chap, too. Well-mannered, well-dressed. The office personnel look up to Bob. He's a lot of fun, and yet Bob knows where to draw the line. His main qualification for the job was a knack of getting other people to do things his way without creating hard feelings in the process. On the other hand, Harry Stevens was a good man, too. In fact, Harry has always been thought of as our most competent employee. Been around 15 years. Harry is conscientious, extremely efficient, and very thorough. We always depended on him to relate the workings of the plant to good office procedure. But with Harry, appearances just never counted for much. Neither did conversation or social life. He unconsciously glowers at people. He speaks his mind in a blunt, almost unfriendly manner. But Harry's bark is worse than his bite. And I've always made certain our people understood this. Before long, they like him. So, those were the two men to choose from. I didn't want to act hastily. My neck was out a mile on this deal. Harry deserved the promotion, but I had to consider the new surroundings that he'd meet in another office. And to make a long story short, I gave the job to Bob Randolph. I was sure that he could handle it, and I wasn't sure how others would react to Harry's personality, nor for that matter, how he would react to them. I was certain that I'd made the right decision. Felt pretty good about it, too. And to make sure that Harry didn't get any wrong ideas from hearing the news second or third hand, I called him in to explain my decision. Harry, something's come up I want to talk to you about. But before I do, I just wanted to tell you I appreciate the good job you've been doing. The good job you've always done. The time that you've put in. Like I've told you before, Harry, you're the best man that we've ever had in the office. Sometimes it's easy for a fellow to think that he's been taken for granted. And I just want to make sure that you don't think that's happened in your case.
No, of course not, Frank.
Well, good. You know, we've all come to depend a great deal on you, Harry. Not just me, but everybody here in the office. And I want you to know that not only do I realize it, but so does top management. Yeah? You've been here 15 years now. You know our operation like the palm of your hand. Harry, if anybody deserved a promotion on the basis of ability and seniority, it certainly is you.
Well, thanks, Frank.
2 weeks ago, I got a call from Mr. Radford. The company needs a manager at the Lake City plant. Mr. Radford expressed his admiration for our setup here, and he wanted me to pick a man from our office for the job. Now, you know, and I know that we only have 2 men who could fill the job, and you're one of them.
Well, thank you, Frank.
The other one is Bob Randolph.
Yeah, I would agree. He's a good man.
Harry, I decided to give the job to Randolph.
What?
Now, wait a minute. That doesn't mean that he's a better man than you are. Actually, I gave the job to our second best man. I mean it, Harry, sincerely. You're the best man that we've ever had. It's just that, well, Randolph has certain personal qualifications that I felt would assure him success. And Harry, I wanted you to be the first one to know about this so you wouldn't get any wrong ideas from the grapevine.
Well, I appreciate that, Frank. But don't
Harry,
you think
this
that...
job calls for going into a new office, meeting and dealing with absolute strangers. The man who got the job would have a lot of people to win over to his way of thinking. And you know as well as I do that Randolph has a great knack for working with people. Something that a lot of people, like maybe you or I, don't have to the same degree.
Yes, I must admit that's true.
I felt that Bob could go into a spot like this and start producing without any complications. You know, Harry, that we all think the world of you around here. We know you. We know the type of work you can put out. I was just afraid that in a new office you might find some trouble getting started. Now, that wouldn't be fair to you, Harry.
No, I guess not.
Now, Harry, this doesn't mean that you've hit the ceiling. There'll be other openings and other promotions before you know it. Well, I guess that just about covers it.
I appreciate you taking the time to tell me all this, Frank.
If you have any questions or comments, let's hear them, Harry. I sure don't want any misunderstanding.
Well, I guess I have one thing to say about it.
Well, good. Out with it.
I quit.
Quit? But Harry, you're my best man. Well, I'll be... What did I do wrong?
One of the most common causes of injuries in work situations is falling. Falls are second only to auto accidents in number of fatalities. People seem to have the idea of fall, they'll be able to get up and walk away. It doesn't work that way. Falls can bring the lifelong miseries and limitations of a chronic bad back, or the daily discomfort and insecurity of a tripped knee, or the end of wage-earning days. When a person slips, the feet simply slide out from under. Often, as a result, the unsupported body comes crashing down. Feet can skid easily and unexpectedly in any direction on many kinds of slimy, oily, or greasy materials that can change a good surface into a dangerous one. A very small spot can do the damage. Even if there's no actual fall, a badly wrenched back may be the result. Sometimes the feet go out from under the body because a surface moves out from under them. Balance is a critical factor in falls. Just moving from one place to another at work always involves the possibility of tripping or stumbling over an object, large or small. Carrying something can greatly increase the risk of falling, a new balance factor is added. An uneven place in the floor, a loose tile, a protruding steel fan, a small item that shouldn't be there will do the trick. And if vision is blocked by the load being carried, a fall is practically guaranteed. Running, of course, increases the chances of a serious injury. People at work often set themselves up for a fall. A fall may result from thinking only of the task and not how to do it. Putting pressure on some resisting object involves a key point of balance. That the resistance suddenly changes, you can be thrown for a painful fall. Another common way of destroying balance is overreaching. The slip of a hand in this vulnerable position means a fall for sure. Chairs, stools, or other objects are often turned into small platforms to aid in reaching, and their stability is often tested beyond their limits. Slipping, tripping, or losing balance in combination with other hazardous factors can be doubly disastrous. A natural reflex attempt to reach out for something to hold on to can sometimes only make things worse. Height is another complicating factor, greatly increasing the seriousness of a fall. But a fracture from falling only one step can take as long to heal as any other. On stairs, anything that can cause slipping, tripping, or loss of balance becomes a bigger threat because the body is balanced on one foot most of the time. An object doesn't have to be very big or very high to cause serious trouble on stair steps. When a standard platform or service ladder is bypassed to reach an unusual vantage point, a foot may be placed on a small or irregular surface where it can slip. It may look like a shortcut to jump down. It's often a shortcut to the hospital. Shortcuts that look logical often wind up in dead ends. Trying to get across that last gap in a shortcut may put a man out of work for several weeks. If a man is wearing a safety belt attached to a suspension line fastened to a safe support, even though near a sheer drop in space, he may be in a safer condition than a man 3 or 4 feet off the floor. A person moving backwards who catches his heel with the edge of a platform can be thrown over so fast his head hits first. Ladders combine height and balance. They can produce heart-stopping scares when they move just slightly, and bone-fracturing falls when they move enough. The 4-to-1 angle is always the safe position for setting up a ladder. The rule is, set a straight ladder 1/4 as far as the height of its support point. It's particularly important to secure ladders that are leaned against cylindrical or irregular surfaces, or set on uneven surfaces. But no matter how the ladder is set, any heavy pushing or pulling up there can lead to a painful fall. It always takes 2 hands to to go up or down a ladder safely. Heavy or clumsy material should never be hand-carried up a ladder. Sure, moving a high ladder is an effort, but it is far healthier than overreaching and risking a permanent injury. Always remember to keep your belt buckle inside the rail of the ladder you're working on, and you won't reach out too far. And remember, the personal penalty can be very severe for a failure to thoroughly inspect the crucial parts of a ladder or scaffold before using it. The best trick of all is not to fall. To some extent, it always hurts to fall. It may be only your dignity, or it may be your head, your back, and your paycheck that get hurt. Stay alert to this hazard. Remember how falls happen. Try to make sure that no one falls because of what you do. No one, including yourself.
Americans at work, performing a service on which every man, woman, and child depends. Barbers and beauticians, important people in the lives of well-groomed and attractive women. For appearance sake, these workers are a necessary part of our lives. For more than 6,000 years, the art of cutting hair has been practiced as a craft. In ancient Egypt, barbers trimmed the square-cut beards of the pharaohs. Today, they care for the square cuts on top of the head. The modern mirrored barbershop of today is quite different from the tonsorial parlor of 50 years ago. But the barber's work remains the same. A never-changing part of his job is reassuring youngsters who, while they may not object violently, are still a bit hesitant about a haircut. Under the striped barber cloth, any customer becomes wrapped in some of the tradition that has surrounded barbers and their shops since the time of Plato, in the days of ancient Greece. The first barbering clubs were formed where men would meet to discuss the topics of the day while having their hair trimmed and beards curled. Today's barber is still an advisor or patient listener to affairs in the lives of his customers. To women, a beauty salon is more than a feminine barber shop. It is a place where they may be transformed from commonplace to outstanding, where natural beauty is developed and accentuated. Often, a woman's attractiveness begins in the hands of a hairstylist, an artist who can instantly create an individualistic coiffure and communicate the exact details to an assistant. Hairdressers learn by doing, following the instructions of the stylist, who may be guided by the season, the shape of the head, or features of the face. An entirely different treatment may be dictated to satisfy the mood of his customer. From courts of royalty, the beautician has become an important part of everyday American life. Just as a beautician learns the craft on the job, a barber begins as an apprentice in an established shop. In times past, a young man learned how and went to work. Now, in all but a few states, he must be schooled and examined before he can be licensed as an apprentice and then as a journeyman barber. Eventually, he may open his own shop where he might begin training licensed apprentices himself. The transformation that can take place in a young girl's appearance simply by changing the style of her hair is deftly accomplished in the hands of an experienced beautician. That little girl look can be replaced by sophistication with quick strokes of scissors and comb. Mother and daughter visits to the beauty shop are becoming as regular as the traditional partnership of father and son at the barber shop. This is an exclusive men's world where women do not go, even though the first women's haircuts were performed there before beauty shops were opened. Many women average 2 hours a week in a beauty salon. The care given their crowning glory depends on how much time they can give it and the skill of the beauty operator. Since 1945, an increasing number of men have chosen the beautification of womankind as a career. Their customers have confidence in their judgment because, after all, who is more appreciative of beautiful women than a man? The way to beauty may not be the most attractive, but the admiring glances that result are worth it. The Union Shop sign is a symbol of good barbering today, just as many shelves of personalized shaving mugs indicated it in the gay 90s. With the passing of the shaving mug and mustache wax went another of barbering's most prized accomplishments, the harmony of the barbershop quartet. A barbershop is a combination of many things, old and new. At one time, a man visited a barber shop as much to relax as to have his hair attended. Now, modern women go to the beauty shop with the same objective. Special facial treatments bring to milady's countenance a look of health and youth. A manicurist shapes and polishes her nails to accentuate the length and gracefulness of long, tapering fingers. Knowledge of skin care and facial structure is something a beautician learns as an apprentice. Her fingers are the tools with which she always works. The direction in which they move, the rhythm of the massage, perform another kind of beauty magic. A woman's hands are as important to her as her face, hair, and clothing, if she is to feel well dressed and at ease. Men are no more without vanity than women. As members of a civilized society, we are concerned with our appearance before others. In earliest civilizations, the barber has been an integral part. While we're not too sensitive to changing fashion and style, it was not always so. Men once wore wigs and elaborate haircuts that required more hours to prepare than many women spend before their mirrors today. The convenient shortcuts men now wear require less time, but father and barber begin early to train a youngster's hair to the shape it will take as he grows. Because women can wear their hair very long or short, or anywhere in between, they may present an endless variety of styles for their admirers. Of course, once long hair has been cut short, only time can change it back. But in the meantime, a clever stylist can change its shape to emphasize features. to change the entire appearance of a customer. Cutting hair to fit a specific personality is what makes the difference between a hair cutter and an artist. It is amazing how happy a boy can look after a haircut, especially as soon as he steps down from the barber chair. To most of us, when we are young, haircuts seem pretty useless, since the hair will always just grow back again. For some of us, anyway. But when you're on your way to meet your best girl, it's worth all the trouble. Of course, one of the things a man almost always forgets is that it takes longer for one woman to finish in a beauty shop than it takes for two men to get their hair cut by one barber. Waiting for a woman to leave a beauty salon has probably contributed as much humor and frustration to civilization as any other single human endeavor. But there really is a reason for the waiting. Every part of beauty care must be performed slowly and with attention to detail. It is really to the beautician's credit that it takes as little time as it does to cut, wash, set, dry, and comb a woman's hair. The curls, swirls, and waves that constitute a hairdo require skill in the hands of the hairdresser and patience on the part of the customer. When the girls finally appear before their men, all the time spent is forgotten. If attractive people are the leaders of society, then barbers and beauticians are the molders of leaders. To explain all the mystery surrounding a woman's ability to make herself beautiful would be impossible. Not even all the secrets of what goes on in a beauty salon are obvious to an outsider. A beautician trained in all the aspects of beauty culture, from washing to waving, including facials, manicures, and cosmetology, knows more than words can tell. The proper use of hands and equipment, the way to roll a curler, is something not always expressible in words. It is enough that we are able to enjoy the work of the beauty salons wherever we turn. All over America, there are barbers and beauticians whose aim in life is one of service to the appearance of mankind. These are people whose craft dates back to the beginnings of civilized society, whose union stems from the Middle Ages, when barbers and surgeons were one. Today, they are members of the Barbers, Hairdressers, Cosmetologists, and Proprietors Union of the AFL-CIO. Americans at work, for you. Americans at Work, presented as a public service by the AFL-CIO. Next week, another interesting story of Americans at work. Americans whose skill and effort help keep our country great and strong.
I'm Raymond Massey, and I have a special message for senior citizens. Today's doctors, drugs, and medical devices truly work medical miracles for young and old alike. But there are some as phony as a $3 bill. Like this Zeret applicator, for example, which is claimed to cure arthritis with Z-rays. There are no Z-rays. This fake device claimed to cure cancer with tape-recorded music. The practitioner who used it was as big a phony as his device. A doorbell doctor sold this food supplement to treat 42 diseases. It has nothing of value that's not contained in the food you buy at your supermarket. Investigate before you invest in health services or products. Help stamp out quackery.
This has been a public service announcement from the Food and Drug Administration in cooperation with this station.
Hello, Barlow speaking. Yes. Someone to work part-time? Oh yes, I'll send someone down to see you. Someone who'll do the caliber of work you expect. Goodbye. Work. There's a word that's used much more than it's understood. As counselor here at our school, I get to hear and see a great deal about work and what it means. Good work, fair work, poor work. I'd like to tell you about a certain student who was here about 5 years ago. His experience has important meaning for you. When Frank Taylor started in his first real job, he had only a vague idea about work, his responsibility to his employers, and to himself. But suppose we let Frank tell his own story.
It all started with a sign in the window of Canfield Shoe Store. Sounded good, a chance to earn money for some of the things I wanted. So I talked to Mr. Canfield. We got along all right, and, well, I got the job. It wasn't bad for a week or so, but then I began to get bored. It was just put shoes away, day after day. Put shoes away, put more shoes away. Nothing ever broke the routine. All I did was put shoes away. And then the pay I got. That wouldn't buy many of those things I wanted. The shoe business was no good. And just because I got to work a half hour late now and then, I didn't understand why Mr. Canfield should get mad. When I had a customer, it was tiny shoes on big feet. These didn't look right. These didn't fit right. These were too expensive. These hurt her feet. Boy, some of those people really made me sick. I didn't last very long. But then it was only a job. I figured I could get another job through the school guidance counselor.
Well, Frank, I've looked over your school grades, I've checked the results of your personality and aptitude tests. I've spoken to some of your teachers. I think I have a job you should be able to fill.
That's great, Mr. Barlow.
The job I have in mind is at Mr. Canfield's shoe store. What is it, Frank?
Well, I don't think Mr. Canfield would hire me.
Why not?
Because he just fired me. Haven't you got a different job maybe somewhere?
Just a minute, Frank. If Mr. Canfield fired you, you might have the same sort of trouble somewhere else. Would you like to tell me about the job and what happened?
Well, nothing happened. The job was just dull and routine. The same things every day. I was just bored with it.
You know, Frank, I don't think there is such a thing as a dull job. But suppose you tell me what you think is interesting work.
Oh, I think it would be exciting to be an architect or an airplane pilot.
Yes, those can be interesting jobs. Or they can be dull and routine too, depending on your mental attitude. Why do you suppose an architect finds interest in his work?
Because he does something important. Designs houses and buildings and bridges and lots of things.
Yes, an architect does help to make things that people need. And he can look with pride on the completed structure. And the pilot provides transportation that people need. He can be proud of his skill and his record of safe flying. But what about, a teacher? Can't she be proud of her service to the community? Are druggists important? Where would you be without them? Or without fishermen? Or chemists? Or bank clerks? Or shoe salesmen? Don't they do something useful, something important for people?
Look, Mr. Barlow, I didn't take that job to do anything important. I just wanted a little spending money.
Any job, piloting a plane or selling shoes, is as important as you make it. If you think it's not important, whatever it is, you'll soon become bored with it and do it poorly. To enjoy your work, you'll need to find enough more than money. You'll need personal satisfaction, pride of accomplishment, a sense of importance to others. Whether it's a part-time job after school or a lifetime career. And as for money, well, we all want money. But if you don't perform any service, or if you don't do your work well, you can't expect much in return, can you?
Why, guess not.
If your work is to profit you, it must also profit your employer and profit society.
But how can you do a job well if it isn't interesting?
It wouldn't be much of a job if you couldn't find something interesting about it. Here, these are records of former students I helped get started in jobs. Most of them used to think very much as you do about jobs, but I'd like you to know what they think of their work now.
Russell's my name. I'm a carpenter. That's work I really enjoy. Have you ever felt the smoothness of a board after you've planed it? Have you ever smelled fresh cut wood? Have you ever made something with your own hands? You can't help enjoying work in which you can take a real pride.
I'm Ed King, farmer. I suppose I started farming in the first place because I like the open air and the soil. But there's more to it than that. The hard work of plowing, planting, cultivating, all leads to the harvest that means success to me and food for people throughout the world. So to me, there's real satisfaction in farming.
Dottie Grant is my name. I'm a secretary. To some people, that means just numbers and letters, taking dictation and typing. Well, it's more than that to me. The work that passes through my hands means work for men in factories, keeps railroaders busy shipping our goods, and gives salesmen something to sell. My job is important to many people, and to me. I'm glad to say that I enjoy doing it as well as I can.
Enjoy doing it as well as you can.
You see, Frank, there are many ways of looking at a job, any job, with pride and pleasure. All right, now let's see what other job we can find for you.
Or, Mr. Barlow, do you think Mr. Canfield would take me back if you asked him to? Well, after Mr. Barlow talked Mr. Canfield into giving me another trial, I found new interest in that job. It was easy to get to work on time, and when I really applied myself to my work, there was nothing dull or routine about it. It wasn't long before I began to see how much other people depended on fellows like me to give them properly fit shoes. Shoes that would wear well and look well. I became proud of the fact that I was building a circle of personal customers, people who came to me regularly for all their shoes. So in Mr. Canfield was willing to give me more responsibility and more pay. It was no longer just a job. Because I had found interest in my work, naturally I did better work. I became more valuable to Mr. Canfield and to his customers, and of course, to myself.
Well, that's the story. Almost. That was 5 years ago. The reason I told you about Frank Taylor is that he called me just now. He needs a part-time helper. You see, he's manager of Canfield Shoe Store now. Does this begin to sound like fiction? It does happen. It happened to Frank because he found interest in his work and satisfaction in doing it to the best of his ability. Every day, someone, somewhere, learns that more money and more satisfaction are the result when you stop thinking about just a job and begin thinking about work.
No, Betty, that's wrong. Let me show you again. You use this control to get your focus, you see? All right, this one here in the right-hand corner to lock the sweep. There we are. Now let's try it again.
Well, there's someone here to see you. Are you Mr. Bradshaw, the foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Donnelly up in personnel said for me to give you this card. I'm your new bearings inspector.
Oh? Oh, well, I'll be with you in just a minute. No, one at a time. Well, I'll be back later to go over this with you, Betty. Just in the meantime, do the best you can. Would you follow me, please? Sure. Just have a seat here. I'll be back shortly.
Well, Mr. Bradshaw, what's on your mind?
Bearings inspector.
She's a good one, too. Just look at that record.
Okay, now, Walt, you've had your little joke. Give her to somebody else. I asked for a man.
We don't have a man with her qualification. Seriously, Brad, if you treat her right, she might make you a darn good employee.
What do you mean, treat her right?
Get that chip off your shoulder. What's wrong with her?
She's a woman, isn't she?
Now, wait a minute. You got a lot of women in your department. What's wrong with one more?
Did you ever hear of the straw that broke the camel's back?
They're good workers. Accurate, quick to catch mistakes, a lot of patience.
Yeah, but that comes out of books. I work with them, mister. I know what happened.
What does happen?
It's a long story.
Come on now, tell me. What does happen? Maybe I've been misinformed.
Not so long ago, you sent me a girl by the name of Myrtle Malloy. Remember?
I remember.
As per her qualifications, I assigned her to an inspection bench. Well, in a matter of days, that bench looked more like her dressing table. And then came the day when... Joe, will you take your stuff back to table 9? That'll be your bench for the time being.
Okay, Chief.
Myrtle, we're moving you to table number 10.
Is something wrong, Mr. Bradshaw?
No, nothing's wrong. We just need this space for something else.
Well, I sure hate to give it up. It's been a nice place to work. The light's good here, and it's nicely situated right in the middle of things. I just began to feel at home.
Well, I'm sorry, Myrtle, but table 10 will have to be your work area for the time being.
You mean there's liable to be another change?
There's always that possibility.
Well, I certainly hope I'm not moved every other day.
With man, no trouble at all. Tell him what you want and he does it. But with Myrtle, a
ask me, now let me tell you. Now here's another problem.
Oh, Mr. Bradshaw, I wanted to tell you that the date is set for my marriage. I'll be leaving soon.
Marriage? I thought you just got engaged.
Well, I told you about it 6 months ago. We were only waiting till we could find a place to live.
6 months ago? Brother. Well, how soon are you leaving?
Well, the end of next week.
Well, that'll really put us in a bind around here. It takes time to break in a relief, girl.
Yes, I know it does. I wonder.
Why didn't you say something? I didn't realize you were getting married right away.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Bradshaw, but I really thought you knew. We've all been talking about it.
Okay, Brad, but how many blushing brides do you have? Besides, what's all this got to do with Dolly, the new girl? She's already married. And she's a qualified Bearings inspector.
You know what I was doing when this new girl came in a few minutes ago?
No.
I was trying to cope with one of the biggest problems of all, Walt. Now, in your books, it comes under the general heading of absenteeism among women employees. Yesterday, I spent an hour and a half teaching one of our girls what she needed to know in order to start on the oscilloscope today. This morning, she isn't here, so I had to use somebody else. Now, I don't think the girl we got on it now ever pick it up, so I'll probably have to find somebody else.
Question. All these things you've been talking about, marriage, absenteeism, personality problems, aren't they really just a part of life?
Part of a woman's life, maybe. But I can remember the good old days when there were all men in my department, and we didn't have these problems.
You didn't have the production output you've got now either. Look, Brad, you've got a new Bearings inspector who happens to be a woman. You need someone, and there isn't a man available. It seems to me that whether the gal adds up to trouble or not is pretty much up to you.
Most of us have work to do, work that helps us live more comfortably and happily together. We do work that needs doing. But most of the world's work is done by grown-ups. Most of the time when you see grown-ups, they're working. Working is part of being grown up. You will grow up someday. You will get a job. You will be working. What do you want to be when you grow up? Why do people work? Why does everybody have a career doing some kind of work? People work because they enjoy doing things that are useful. And people work to be able to buy the things they need for themselves and their families. In every single career, people earn money by working to produce goods or services that the other people need or want. Everyone needs food. We all need clothing. We need housing. And we need health care. And there are hundreds of other goods and services we want to make our lives easier and more enjoyable. Because people need and want so many different goods and services, there are many different kinds of work to do. There are many different careers to choose from. People work in different places. People work in different clothes. Some people work at night. People work with different machines. People work with different skills. Almost every career requires special skills. Skills which must be learned by study, or practice, or both. But people find it very satisfying to learn about work that they like. Do you think you would like to learn to work with your hands and with machines? You might like a construction career like this one. Everyone must learn some things from books and teachers, but no book can give you the skill to make a cabinet as fine as this one, or to know when an engine is running exactly right. Maybe you have heard the expression, experience is the best teacher. Everyone learns from experience, but experience is not the only way to learn. Some careers require a person to know a great deal of information before he can begin to work. He must learn the information before he can really begin to develop his skill. It means more school after high school, but if you like to solve problems, you might like this career. Some people who like to be their own boss open businesses of their own. Do you like to meet people? There are lots of careers in which you can meet members of your community every day. Some people like to do work that is especially helpful to other people. Nothing is more important to people than good health. Each of these jobs is a different career, but they are all needed to help take care of our health. It requires a whole group of different jobs to take care of each main kind of work that the community needs. The people of all communities need transportation. Driving a truck is an important career. But we can see that it takes many other jobs in order for the truck driver to help us. It takes mechanics to keep trucks running well. A dispatcher tells the driver where to deliver his load. Secretaries and other office workers are needed to help run a trucking business. But trucking is just a small part of the transportation we need. We need the work of everyone who has a job with the railroads. We need the work of transporting things by ship. There are many different careers that provide us with air transportation. Because each main kind of work has so many different careers, we can call each main type of work a career cluster. Construction is a main kind of work. Engineers, draftsmen, surveyors, carpenters, and many others have careers in construction. Because it takes many different jobs to build the new houses, factories, and businesses we need, construction is a career cluster. Manufacturing is another main kind of work. To manufacture the things we need, it takes hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of jobs. So, manufacturing is another career cluster. Here are some other career clusters. Main kinds of work, which include the thousands and thousands of different jobs it takes to produce the goods and services needed by the people of a big country like ours. It is good that there are many different types of careers, because different people like different types of work. But no matter what kind of work they do, most people are proud to do a good job. Because he learns new things as he works, a person can get more and more satisfaction as he works at his career. He may lead others and earn more money, too. It is important to earn the money to take care of families. And even if they could get along without them, it is very satisfying for people to earn enough for extra things they want. With so many careers to choose from, how will you choose your career? You have a long time to think about it. You have quite a while left to decide what to be when you grow up. You can't choose yet, but you can look around while you are growing up. You can think about it. What do you want to be when you grow up?
What do you think of that? That's silly, Helen. What do you want to stop? Well, I don't know. But Nell said when she was in his office, she overheard him talking about it. You think there's really anything to it? Well, Nell says she heard Mr. Cowdery say that the Perkins Company plant in Cleveland can handle the entire load. You can figure it out from there. Everybody's talking about it. Gee, I hope not. Oh, this is Mr. Stone. I'll see you, Helen. Okay, so long.
to talk over the matter with you on your next visit here. Cordially yours. That'll be all for now, Alice.
Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone.
Yes?
Well, I was wondering if you could tell me if it... Well, you see, my husband works here in town, and we just bought a new house, so... Well, I'd hate to have to move or look for another job or anything, and...
What are you trying to say, Alice?
Well, you see, everybody's talking about Perkins Company taking us over, maybe moving us all to Cleveland. I was just wondering if you could tell me if it's true, because if it is...
What? Well, how do rumors like that get started? Look, Alice, who told you that?
Well, it's kind of all over the office, Mr. Stone.
Well, you and the rest of the girls can forget it. There's nothing to it. Why is it people are always interested in things that are none of their business? First thing you know, the darndest rumors get started like this one. Look, Alice, will you please take my advice and not repeat any of these silly stories?
Yes, Mr. Stone.
The grapevine.
Yeah, the old grapevine. Something simple happens, it's misinterpreted. A story starts and grows and grows. For instance, 2 weeks later.
Oh, Alice, if you'll wait just a moment, you can take these reports up to Mr. Cowdery.
Well, look, Mr. Stone, I'll be running along. Don't worry, we'll get your new computer and those file cabinets in early next week.
Good. Now that we're getting rid of those 2 desks out there, I guess we'll have room for them. Oh, yes. What about the expert operator?
Oh, I've taken care of that. We're sending you our very best girl.
Good. All right. Here you are, Alice. If you'll just give these reports to Mr. Cowdery's secretary, please.
Yes, Mr. Stone.
Now, I'm planning on keeping your expert operator here long enough to train both Helen and Sally. They're 2 of my best girls. That way, both girls will be trained on the new machine, and we'll be able to get out a lot more work with less effort.
Well, I can guarantee you this, Mr. Stone. You're going to like it. And the girls will be happy with it, too, after they learn how to use it.
I'm sure of it. Within a week, both my girls will be old hands at it.
Just a normal business improvement. Stone, head of accounting, is getting a new type of computer to make his department more efficient. A simple improvement in methods. Simple, that is, until the office grapevine gets a hold of it.
I hear they've already ordered one. Yes, Helen and Sally. Moving them?
Transfer? Laid off? Fired? Without notice? Just like that? What did they do?
Well, the least he could have done was tell us first.
Well, that's only what I heard, Helen. Maybe the thing for you to do is go right in and ask him about it. After all, you're not sure.
Well, you're his secretary, Alice. Why don't you ask him?
I wouldn't ask him. I told you how he acts when anybody asks him anything about anything that goes on around here.
Well, where there's smoke, there's fire. If they're moving our desks out and getting a new automatic machine, they must be getting rid of us, too.
Well, that's the thanks you get. 4 years at the same desk working your head off, and then in comes a newfangled machine, and out you go.
Well, I think we ought to quit before he has a chance to fire us. There's plenty of other good jobs around here. I don't know what you're going to do, Sally, but I'm leaving early today to find me another job.
It's really a swell job. And if you'll come down...
Good morning,
and
girls.
you already...
Oh, Helen, will you and Sally come in for just a minute, please? I've got some news for you.
We've got some news for him, too.
Well, I guess this is it.
Oh, come on in and sit down, girls. I've got something I want to talk to you about.
All right, you don't have to tell us. We know. And it may interest you to know that we don't care. This is the thanks you get for years of hard work. Maybe we don't want to work for you. As a matter of fact, I already have another job. I start Monday.
Wait a minute. Another job? What on earth are you talking about?
And I've got an interview set up for Sally, too. Maybe it's a good thing to change jobs now and then. People get so used to seeing you around, after a while they look at you like you're a piece of furniture.
What in the name of heaven are you talking about?
You needn't pretend, Mr. Stone. We've heard all about it already. The whole office has. You think just because you buy a new automatic machine, you can let us go and get an experienced operator for it. Well, let me tell you...
Let you go? Oh, for Pete's sake. If this wasn't so serious, it'd be ridiculous. Look, I'm buying a a new computer to take the place of those two old adding machines out there. And they always send along an experienced operator to break someone in on it. Now, I thought you'd be much happier with the new setup.
Golly, Mr. Stone, we thought that...
You thought? Well, why didn't you come into me in the first place instead of listening to all this silly backyard gossip?
Well, I heard that whenever anyone comes into you about something, you say it doesn't concern them.
Look, girl, it isn't always possible to tell you everything that management has in mind. You can understand that. But I'll certainly tell you about anything that concerns you directly. In fact, that's why I called you in here, to tell you about this change before the equipment arrived.
Oh, golly, Mr. Stone, we thought we were going to lose our jobs.
Well, I'm sorry, girls, if you got concerned and upset over nothing. But how in the devil can I keep these rumors from getting started?
Bumped that control by accident. You'd be mincemeat by now. What have I told you? You don't work on equipment when the engine's running.
Well, I told him not to touch anything. All right, I guess I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking? You mean you'll work on engines and machinery and not think of your own personal safety? Here. Shake hands with Danger.
Shake hands with Danger. He's a guy who ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Shake hands with danger. Find it anywhere you choose. Be careless for a moment. Spend a lifetime with the blues. Earth-moving machines are designed for safety, but they're big enough to hide a man.
It's about dead. You could have killed me.
This mechanic is lucky he's able to complain. He should have protected himself by removing the key and putting a do not operate tag on the controls. Anytime you pick up a wrench, reach for a control, use a grease gun, grab a welding torch, or work on any machine while forgetting safety, you're shaking hands with danger.
Okay. All right, now you take the loader up behind the hill where they're working. Now I'll drive up on the road and I'll meet you at the top, all right?
Okay, but you know, Cliff, I never operated this model before.
Well, all right, all I have to do is back it up and then let it down nice and easy like. You want me to do it?
I can handle it. There's no sweat there. We can take care of it.
Okay, all right, I'll see you later.
What this man didn't know was that the operator had left the lift lever in the raised position, so the arms would rise automatically when the engine started. The qualified operator would have known better. The man shouldn't have tried to perform as an operator when he wasn't one.
Well, you were kidding when you said you didn't know how to run this thing.
Chuck Hamlin is no beginner. Before he begins changing an O-ring on an excavator boom, he checks. Oil temperature down, engine off, bucket grounded, hydraulic lock engaged. He'll have that O-ring installed in minutes. You may damn well lose it all. Wherever possible, the stick should be extended and the boom lowered so the work can be done at ground level. Finding that impossible, the next man used the service truck as a safe work platform. Climbing with tools can create a hazard. Use the steps and the grab irons. Keep at least 3 points of contact, 2 feet and 1 hand unencumbered. Any shortcuts and you're inviting injury. In fact, taking shortcuts is often a quick road to trouble. For example, consider what happened to Harry Sanders. Harry has come to work with a problem. His son is having a football injured knee operated on this morning. Harry wants to finish this job and take a couple hours off to visit his son. The operator has complained that the scraper is shifting too slow and the controls are sluggish. In a hurry, Harry pulls only one axle. The service manual says to pull both axles and disconnect steering. But Harry knows with one axle removed and the differential unlocked, the machine shouldn't move. He's taken this shortcut before. While waiting for the operator to return, Harry starts the machine in order to judge the problem. While he waits for the engine to warm, Harry's thoughts drift to worries about his son. The accelerator feels stiff. So then he checks the feel of the service brakes. His attention is divided. While thinking about his son, his hands and feet go through motions he believes have become automatic. In this absent-minded state, he unconsciously starts to steer, jams his foot on the differential lock, and the machine takes off. Lucky for the stunned operator, the machine stops itself. Harry is only bruised, but in a crowded area he could have killed someone because he ignored safe procedure to save a few minutes' work. Most people have days when they come to work with worries, hangovers, or distractions. Those are times for being doubly cautious. When the body's on the job but the mind is elsewhere, it's danger time. Glenn Greenwood was victim of another kind of mental hazard, ego.
How you doing, hotshot? It's stuck in there tight. You get that pin driver? No, but I got this gripped. Just give it a whack.
Glenn knows the risk of striking hard against badly chipped metal. But he's wearing safety glasses, and there's a macho thing involved here. Glenn doesn't want his friend to sneer at him for being overly cautious. So, Glenn shakes hands with danger. Maybe his friend would have laughed if Glenn had insisted upon playing it safe. But he sure as hell isn't laughing now. With tools, the time to make sure you have a safe engine is before you start using them. They should be the right tools for the job and in safe condition. If Glenn's friend had ground off that mushroomed face, taken care of the tools he uses, he could have prevented that accident. Some old-timers think accidents happen only to greenhorns.
Hey, Red. I got a Dracula. You want to come take a look at it?
Let them learn the hard way, they say. Now, let them learn the hard way can be an attitude that results in serious injury.
Sorry about that.
One word of caution from the old-timer would have saved a lot of pain and lost work time. And even the old-timer can lapse into carelessness. The safety gap is correct when he starts, but he doesn't think about how much he's grinding down the wheel. He gets by with it on that longer piece. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal are what made Three-Finger Joe. Fingers aren't the only things to think about when working with track. A near miss due to the mechanic's failure to restrain the track before he unloosened it at a high point. Here, they're about to push a high-sprocketed machine from an old set of tracks onto a new set. With both tracks removed, the machine is free to roll. On a slight grade, it may just take off.
Hey, step away from me.
If they'd had an operator in the machine, he could have stopped it by dropping the ripper or blade. Now, they should have planned proper blocking and restraint. But better still, they should change one track at a time. Then there can't be a rollaway.
Have we got going here, huh?
Hurry and failure to heed safety warnings can also endanger those doing routine maintenance. Despite constant warnings about hot oil and pressure systems, some optimist always thinks he can get his hand away in time.
Oh, God. Oh, hot. Oh, somebody help me.
Needn't have happened. The temperature gauges, pressure gauges, and the safety caps on cooling systems are there to prevent accidents from occurring. The people who shake hands with danger are those who don't learn beforehand what they're getting into, like the owner whose brake rotor chamber has been losing air pressure.
Hey, Sam. I got the brake chamber off the loader. I gotta run into the dealer to get some repair parts. While I'm gone, will you take it apart to save us some time? Okay, Bill.
At this point, the service manuals call for the insertion of a threaded tool to hold the spring force. Sam hasn't read the manual. He doesn't know he's releasing a force that might be as high as 1,750 pounds. working on anything from nitrogen accumulators to inflated tires, it pays to know the kind of power you're dealing with beforehand. The warnings about gasoline are as old as use of the fuel. Yet somewhere, somebody is always deciding it won't hurt to use it as a cleaning fluid just this one time. Oh, he'll empty the pan very carefully, but just as soon as he finds a rag to wipe off the carburetor. Meanwhile, the fuel keeps vaporizing.
I've only got about another hour to go on this thing. I gotta get that thing washed over there. I'll be down in a minute.
It's possible to become overconfident about handling dangerous materials. A good reason why safety instructions should be repeated at frequent intervals. Oddly enough, it isn't lack of familiarity with the job that causes most accidents. Often it's the routineness of the work that makes a person overconfident. Now, Bill Myers is changing buckets, a job he's done at least 100 times. If he were new at it, Bill would be watching and thinking about every step. Now it's so routine that caution has been dulled. The hole is dry. The pin won't slide in. There's no stick or swab in the grease can, but he could surely find one if he took the time to search around. This is the moment, that split second when a man decides between being safe or shaking hands with danger. If he couldn't find a stick or a swab, Bill could have had the linking members moved apart and greased them separately. It would have been a nuisance, but Bill Myers would give anything to be able to go back and do it the right way.
Hey, Ernie? Yeah, I got this hose off the stove blade here. Why don't you put this bolt in that engine? I'm gonna take this in the shop. All right, I gotta go.
Blocked both push arms, and he should never have relied upon anything as unstable or crushable as building blocks. Improper blocking and failure to block are major causes of crushing accidents. We're dealing with enormous weight, and we should never depend upon hydraulics alone to hold it up.
I'll show you something back here. Yeah, the position this truck bed was in without these locking pins in, and you working underneath the truck bed, and it hadn't failed, you'd have had it. These pins should be the place for such.
Now, it's always important to look out for the other guy. Safety is always in the hands of people on the job. The warnings and cautions are there for those who heed them. Safety procedures are spelled out and illustrated in lubrication and maintenance guides, operators' guides, and service manuals. The protection is there in machine design and safety devices. Safety instruction, emphasizing knowledge and awareness, prevents accidents by encouraging safety consciousness, and protective clothing helps shield the body from the unexpected. The human element remains. It can lend itself to safety or turn a routine situation into a dangerous one.
Hey, Bob! I gotta get this shit out of here. That engine's not running. I don't care if it's on or not. You see that truck? The truck's gotta come through here. I want this out of here right now.
And we all know that the serviceman doesn't always work under ideal conditions. Mechanic Bob Murray has an excavator with a dead engine. It won't start, which means the brakes are locked, which means it's going to sit right here until Bob disconnects the final drives. Then he'll have a machine he can move. What he should also have, but doesn't, is a second vehicle to provide braking. Shake hands with danger. Hurry up and get it done. It takes two men to move this thing, but I'll make do with one. Now, Bob isn't dumb. He wouldn't try towing it all the way to the shop without help. But he just wants to drag it 100 yards or so and get that foreman off his back. Bob Murray will never again tow a freewheeling machine without having control over the braking. Now, Bob was lucky. Others were not. Shake hands with danger. 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 Friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just
This looks all right. Tell me, why are you interested in this job?
I need a steady job, Mr. Wiley, with a chance to go places.
I see. Now, this one job you had with the Central Distributing Company, you worked there for 18 months?
Yes, sir.
Why did you leave?
Because I wasn't getting anywhere. After 18 months, I figured I was worth more than they were paying me. And I figured I was ready for promotion to more important work.
I see.
Honest, Mr. Wiley, it was a rotten company. I don't know why I stayed as long as I did.
Tell me, were you fired?
Yes, I was. But it wasn't my fault. The company just up and started firing people. Retrenching, they called it. What do you think of that?
I think it's a pretty normal situation. A business has to live within its income. Many factors affect that income. Sales, general economic conditions, the development of new industries that replace old ones. For these and many other reasons, businesses often go through periods of adjustment and reorganization when they're forced to let people go.
I didn't do anything. Why me?
You said that in 18 months you hadn't gotten anywhere.
That's right. Other fellows who started later were promoted right over my head.
How much warning do you need? Couldn't you see the company valued the other fellow's services above yours?
But I thought I was doing fine. What did I do?
Do you expect me to answer that?
No, sir. I guess you wouldn't know.
Actually, I probably do know better than you do. I have no business taking time for this, but I can't help thinking you might really amount to something if you'd set your mind to it. Try to see yourself as your employer saw you. Better still, let me give you a picture of a case I really do know. It's about a young man who came to work in our shipping room here, and another young man. Now, we begin work here at 8:30. That's the time to begin this business of keeping a job. And that's the time Bob Anderson began work every day. We could depend on him to be on time and to do his work on time. You might call him an eager beaver, but look at it from the employer's point of view. Wouldn't you like to have Bob working for you? Dependability is one of the main keys to keeping a job and getting ahead. Now, dependability includes a willingness to work. Some of the work in our shipping room is hard work. That's why we've always had two fellows working there. Well, two fellows who were supposed to be working. The other fellow I want to tell you about is Walter, Bob's brother, Bob's twin brother. But the resemblance is only skin deep. Look at Walter from the employer's point of view, and you see how not to keep a job. Look at him from Bob's point of view, and you see how not to get along with your fellow workers. On the other hand, Bob would be popular wherever he worked. You know he would do his share of the work and help others who needed help. Cooperation is another way to keep a job. Walter finally decides to go to work, but a job he was supposed to do first thing. Actually, he was supposed to run them off the evening before, but he put it off. This is how not to be dependable, how not to cooperate with the company and with your fellow workers in your own and other departments. Poor Walter. Who should come into the shipping room but me? The boss always seems to find out. Walter's manner gave him away. Now, it isn't hard to learn to make good, clean copies on a duplicating machine. And this wasn't the first time I'd had to criticize Walter for making poor copies. And it wasn't the first time he tried to alibi his way out of the situation. The fact was, Walter just couldn't take criticism. Yet how can a man expect to improve on a job if he won't listen to the very people who can help him? Just before closing time, You'll find Bob getting the shipping room ready for the night. And you'll find Walter getting himself ready. So he won't be a second late punching the clock. An employer sees this as a sure sign that a man isn't really interested in his work. I ask you, if you were the employer and had to cut down your staff, which fellow would you keep?
That's not hard to answer. But why didn't you go ahead and fire this, Walt?
Now, don't be too hasty. I'm only telling you about Walter's bad points. He did enough work to hang on to his job. As long as times are good, there'll be jobs for fellows who just barely do enough to get by. But to keep a job when the going gets rough, you need to ensure your job. Make yourself so valuable your employer can't let you go. We've talked about dependability and cooperation. Now, another prime quality is initiative. And for once, I have something good to say for Walter. It's not hard to understand why he was unhappy whenever shipments were left just inside the door. The packages had to be hauled all the way across the room for wrapping, then hauled back again when they went out. If you don't like the way things are done, you can spend a lot of time complaining about it. That was Walter's usual way. But this time, he got an idea, and he knew what to do with it. In every company, there's plenty of room for improvement, and the management usually welcomes suggestions from employees. Walter's idea was a practical one, so we adopted it. The company benefits through time saved and less handling of packages. The fellows in the shipping room benefit through having one of their jobs made easier. And Walter improved his standing with his employer by his display of initiative. But one good mark isn't enough. One day, not long after, Walter was taking advantage of a lull in the work, and Bob was bringing the shipping records up to date when...
What you got there? Shipment for you. Wise guy. Well, finally, the stuff they've been running in here asking about every hour for the last 3 days. Sign here. That's the way it is in this company. They wait till they run out of something, and everybody runs around like crazy. No system, and nobody in charge with enough brains to start one. What a way to run a business.
You don't like the company, why do you work for it? Me, I work for a swell outfit I'm proud of.
Maybe I'd like to work for them. Could they use me?
What for?
A press agent?
Yes, Walter found out that nobody thinks very much of a man who talks against the company he works for. And what did Walter gain by making that false statement about his company? Nothing, except trouble for himself if it got back to his employer, which it did.
I guess it's not very different from the way I was talking to you about the place where I used to work.
Well, there's a saying, if the shoe fits.
Oh, the shoe fits all right. You knew it would, didn't you? Yeah, I could see my shortcomings all over the place. Dependability, initiative, cooperation, and loyalty. I could have done a lot better on every count.
You can do better. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Well, Bob, I've got a new assistant for you. Bob Addison, this is Ed Blakesley.
Hi, Ed. Glad to meet you.
Bob's a good man to watch. As soon as he trains somebody to take over here, he's moving up to assistant purchasing manager.
Say, that's great. Mr. Wiley's been telling me about you and your brother.
My brother?
Yeah, your twin brother, Walter.
I had a point to make, so I invented a twin brother for you. You see, in this twin of Bob's, I was really describing Bob's poor conduct on the job when he first came to work here.
Oh, you mean the way I was loafing on the job around here before?
I get it. And then you... Well, if you can... Say, Mr. Wiley, did I ever tell you about my twin brother?
The characters, places, and events portrayed in this motion picture are fictional. Any similarity to real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental.
Allison, don't forget to drink your juice. Now, you heard me.
Bye-bye, everybody. I'm on my way.
Bye, honey.
Bye, sweetheart.
Oh, honey, don't forget to buy some charcoal for tonight, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye. How was your weekend?
Not bad. Went to the Packers game. They pulled it out in the last minute. How about you?
Kind of quiet. I did some work around the house Saturday. Sunday, Marcia and I took Allison to the park. You know, that kid is really something else. She brought this sculptor home from school, you know, one of those clay things, and it was really terrific. So I said, honey, that is a great looking dog. She says, no, Daddy, it's an elephant.
Hey, sounds like your kid's got a lot of talent.
Oh, yeah? Hey, I want to stop by Sorensen's on the way home tonight. I got to pick up some charcoal. I want to take a look at that 12 gauge you've got. I'd love to have that with me on our hunting trip.
Yeah, only 2 more weeks to go and we'll be on our way. Boy, I can hardly wait.
Hey, nice going, Jimmy. Beautiful.
And that Duke of Monty went right to it. So I knew we were in the money. Then this guy, Richard's dog, he goes out. You know, he's the guy's always blowing off about this dog of his. About 50 yards out, he spots a rabbit. He takes, I go up after him. Oh, jeez, was he mad. Thought he was going to have a stroke.
Hey, what's the rush? You're gonna get picked up.
Yeah, that's all I need. I got a call about 4 o'clock this morning from the plant. Packaging machine is down. Oh, I hope they got it going by now.
Yeah, well, that's all right with me.
I wouldn't know what to do with the stuff if I had it. I haven't got any cars to ship it in. I had to reject 10 of them Friday. Why, they were all beat up, filthy.
It looks like it's going to be a long day for all of us, including the Bears.
Did you see him give that game away to the Packers yesterday?
Hi, Frank.
Morning, John. Sure had a rough night. Number 3 packaging machine's still down.
Oh, no, I was afraid of that. How much longer?
Well, they said it'll only be a little while.
What happened?
Broken cam.
Broken cam?
That's twice this year. I wonder what would cause that. I told them to give me a call when they're ready.
The last time this happened, we lost over 1,000 cases.
I got some more bad news for you. Smitty called, said he'd be 2 hours late. I'm way ahead of you, though. I got one of my guys to stay until Smitty gets there.
Hey, thanks, Frank. I owe you one. I think I'll take a look. I'll see you in the morning.
See you, John.
Well, we just got line number 3 going again. You want to send one of your guys down to take a look?
Okay, we'll do that.
Good.
Here, Duke. Come on. Come on. There you go. That's good stuff. Duke? 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 Duke?
John, come over the door, Mr. Number 1. Come on, quick.
Oh, you know better than that. Get that mess cleaned up.
What do you say?
Yes, Mrs. Phelps, I know she was perfectly normal this morning, but right now she's running a fever. She's got cramps. Now, I think you should come and get her and put her right to bed. No. I really think you should call your doctor. I don't really know what it is, but she's pretty sick.
Harry Phelps, telephone. Harry Phelps, telephone.
Thank you.
Terry Phelps. Yeah. Hey, hi, honey.
Harry, Allison is very sick. We're at the hospital now, and, they're pumping her stomach.
I'll be right there. Hi, honey. Where is she? Is she gonna be all right? What's happening?
They said that, it was something that she ate, and that it was food poisoning.
Food? What the hell does that mean? Food poisoning? Well, what can we do?
Well, they're in there with her now, and they're pumping her stomach.
Honey, take it easy.
They said that we could just wait.
Take it easy.
She's a new baby, she's so little. I don't know what to do.
She'll be all right.
I'm so glad you're here, Harry. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, Allison.
What are you doing?
I got here as quick as I could from you. Are you gonna be all right?
Sure,
Please, come.
I'm sorry, you'll have to stop here. I'll come.
I will wait for you.
Easy, baby. You're gonna be all right. Don't worry, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. Look at this, our little girl.
This fat looks terrible. Come on, George. Would you want your kids to eat out of that?
John, you better take a look at this.
No. It's almost quitting time. I'll get it tomorrow. Boy, am I glad today's over.
Yeah, me too.
I'm getting out of here before anything else goes wrong.
John Miller, come to the office. John Miller.
I left 5 minutes ago. Duke! 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 Where's Duke?
I don't know how to tell you this.
Tell me what?
I tried to call you, but,
Tell me what?
well, it's about,
Well, what about Duke?
well, after you went to work this morning, I felt like I usually do. And
Judy, what's the matter with Duke?
Duke's gone. He's dead.
Oh,
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry.
Judy, no. Please. Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
The vet said it was probably something in his food.
Something in his food? What'd you do? Give him some new kind of garbage?
No, I fed him the same thing we've always fed him. I went out for about an hour, and when I came back, he was just lying there. Just lying there.
I don't believe it. It just isn't possible.
I called the vet, and he said to bring him over. John, I couldn't lift him. So I called the vet back, and he was here in 20 minutes.
Oh, what did he say? Huh? What
could kill him. Yeah, hello? Yeah, Doc, we were just trying to figure out. You found what? How would he get something like that in his food? You mean to tell me that he could swallow something like that? Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, right. Uh-huh. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Somebody's gonna pay for this.
Yeah, that's what the doc said. Food poisoning. Is that unreal? Some companies just don't care what goes on in their plants. I wonder how those guys would like it if one of their kids got sick. They probably don't let their own product in the house. We take more care with this stuff than some guys do with food. I've heard some stories you wouldn't believe.
You wouldn't believe it. What they found in his stomach. Now, the vet said it was something he swallowed. In his food. What a way to go. We better get going. You want to check that door mixer? We've been having trouble with it.
Sure thing. Right after I wash up. See you later.
You know, even Ellison's doctor didn't know where she got it. Food poisoning. Could have been anything she ate. Some guy not being careful. They just don't understand how important the little things really are.
I understand the FDA is really starting to put the heat on these food companies, and I'm all for it. They ought to really come down hard on those clowns.
You know, we had to shut down one of our lines for an hour yesterday because the stuff didn't look like it was supposed to. And this is dog food. Oh, you take a right here. Boy, I can't wait to try out this new 12 gauge. See how it feels.
Probably not too good the way you shoot.
My shooting is going to be all right. It's this dog of yours I'm worried about.
Don't worry about the dog. He'll be just fine. Why don't you take him in and get us a couple of beers, and I'll get us a good blind for tomorrow.
That's quite a dog you got there.
Yeah. Belongs to a friend of mine. Hey, bartender, when you get a chance, can I have a couple of beers, please?
Yeah, it makes you feel kind of sad. I had a lad just like that big guy. He was killed. And a couple of weeks ago, he died. You should have seen what they found in his stomach.
You know, it's funny. My little girl is just getting over a case of food poisoning. Thank God nothing went wrong. She's coming along pretty good.
You know, I don't understand it. With all the money they can spend on research, you think they'd find a way.
Yeah. Some guys just don't give a damn. 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 Give a damn.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
The truth. The truth. The truth. The truth. The truth. The truth.
Bartender, this one's on me.
Hey, Mike. Come on in. I want you to meet a friend of mine.
The characters, places, and events portrayed in this motion picture were fiction. Any similarity to real persons, living or dead, was purely coincidental. Maybe.
on you?
Oh, I don't know. It must be the lights or something. My eyes never bothered me before.
Oh, when did it start?
Oh, about the time I started on this new part here. Must be close to work or something.
Well, tell you what. We'll get you a new setup here. A little more light right down on what you're doing. How's that sound to you?
Well, I hope it helps. This ain't no good.
We'll fix you up. Well, that ought to fix you up, huh, Dick?
Yeah, that takes care of one of my problems. But I got another one just as bad.
What is this other problem?
My legs. Boy, they're killing me.
I didn't know you had any trouble like that.
Well, I haven't had. Up until lately. This new setup here has me jumping up and down every 2 seconds like a monkey. It gets me right here.
Well, is there anything we can do about it?
I don't know. Haven't thought much about that.
Well, Jake, we've never tried it before, but maybe a rubber mat. Something to stand on. That might be the answer. Well, we'll try it. See if it doesn't help. Yeah. Well, how's it going, Jake? I see they got you fixed up with a rubber mat.
I'd like to sit down and talk to you sometime, Larry.
Got another problem?
Yeah, but this is a pretty serious one, you know? The kind you ought to sit down and talk over. Don't suppose now'd be a good time to do it?
Well, I am in a carpool. Let's take time. Come on back to my office. Okay. Chair right over there. Take the door if you'd like. Now then, let's hear what's on your mind.
Well, I don't know exactly how to put it.
Oh, excuse me. Yes? Oh, 5 to 10 minutes. Relax. Listen to the radio or something. I'll be there in a jiffy. Jake, can I say something? Sure. We've known each other a long time. Don't beat around the bush. Just tell me right out. What's on your mind?
Okay. I want to be taken off the new job.
Why?
You don't know?
No.
But it's too tough. It's harder work. It calls for more precision. Why do you keep on giving the hard jobs to me, Larry?
So that's it. Well, Jake, it's a relief to know what's been eating on you. I wish you'd have told me sooner. You know, there's just one hitch.
The hitch?
You're wrong about the job. It's not harder. Doesn't call for any more skill than the other one.
But I'm the guy that's working on the job. Every one of those new dimensions is trickier to check.
It's just new to you, that's all. The measurements are a little different, but the tolerances are exactly the same. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about.
I don't quite see it that way, but, well, you're the boss.
You'll be all right once you get the hang of it.
Well, see you later.
How about that? Funny how it takes so long to get to the real gripe. Well, I hope this clears it up.
Well, now what? Didn't get to first base with him. I don't get it. I never get the easy jobs. It's not fair. Maybe the union could help me out in this. Yeah, that's what I should have done in the first place.
But Larry, this isn't something you can just brush off. This is now a formal complaint. Breach of contract because of discrimination in assignment of work.
Well, I thought it was all taken care of. I talked to him about it. I guess I just didn't get my point across.
Evidently, he felt he didn't get his across either.
Look, Tom. Jake Jake has been given more special treatment than anybody else in the shop. His eye's bothering, so we put in more lights. We gave him a rubber mat to ease his aches and pains. But as for my loading all the tough jobs on him, he's all wet. What am I supposed to do? Consult with him before I hand out the easy jobs just to avoid a formal grievance?
Oh, that's beautiful. You hit the books. Kept your nose clean. Graduated from high school, so you made a good job. All right, stack 'em up. Take 'em down. Push 'em around. That's a good job. Today, a good job for a guy with your abilities is a job in electronics, nuclear power, communications, aircraft mechanics, computer technology, radar, even sonar. All you need is some special training. If you have what it takes, the Navy can be your open door to a great future. Listen to me, man. I'm Lou Laws. You had the smarts to get your high school diploma. So you stand a good chance of passing the Navy's entrance test. They aren't that tough if you apply yourself. And instead of pushing crates around, you could be at electronic school, like these brothers. Of course, everybody has to go through boot camp. You get checked in.
On that top line in the space marked name, print your last name, first name, and middle initial.
And you get graded out. And your schooling starts right here.
Good morning, men. Morning, sir. Chief Petty Officer this morning, I'll give you a lecture.
Of course, you have to get the old bod in shape, you know what I mean? And you learn to swim. Yeah, swim, man, you dig? Nobody's going to shove you in the pool and let you sink. I mean, they will teach you how to handle yourself in the water, you know. Now, you may not make it to the Olympics, but hey, man, you will be able to stay on top side of the water, you know what I mean? Also at boot camp, you'll take a few more tests to find out what you do best. If it's electronics, you might be sent to a school like this one in Great Lakes, Illinois. If mechanics is your thing, you could go to aircraft mechanics school like this one in Memphis, Tennessee. Now back at Great Lakes, they call this a steam generator lab. Here you'll learn how to turn steam into power. Communications, look what the Navy has for you. In fact, the Navy has over 70 vocational training schools that could be open to you. And don't forget, you're getting paid all the time, you understand? What happens after your specialized training? The fleet has the good job you've been looking for. Now you're working as an electronic specialist with all the responsibility and respect you deserve. Or you're working those cool Navy jets aboard a carrier. Communications are essential. As I said, the Navy has over 70 areas that require good, well-trained people. You could be one of those people. And think of the value of this training in civilian life.
I'm Petty Officer Second Class Donald Christian. I've been in the Navy 10 years, and I've been on 4 ships. As it stands now, I'm the senior barber aboard this ship, and I'm also the minority representative. I can sum equal opportunity up as such. For the young black that comes to the Navy today, he has to have a good educational background. He has to have an initiative goal. He to have self-discipline, and he surely has to have self-motivation. With this combination, a young blank in today's Navy can achieve any particular goal he so desires.
Don't let anyone tell you that you'll be put on board a ship and left there for months and months. You'll be stopping off at exotic ports, famous historic cities all over the world. And there's something else too. You don't have to go alone. The Navy has what they call the buddy system, where you and a friend from home can join the Navy together, and that's a gas. So think it over. How long have you been on that machine, brother? 2 years? 3 years? Or you begin to feel like you'll be there forever? You know, you're really quite a guy, man. You did well in your math and science courses in high school. And after that, the trade school was easy. Because, you know, you have some kind of a know-how. And you soon found out that doing the same thing day after day is ain't trash. Why don't you go into something like the nuclear field? I mean it, man. You might be just the guy the Navy's looking for. And this nuclear field program, and it's far out. Here's what it's all about. After boot camp and a short tour at sea, you start going to school. Now, just saying going to school is like saying the ocean is wet, right? Listen, that schooling you'll get is about 2 years and the best training the Navy can provide. $15,000 to $20,000 worth of training, man. That's a lot of dough. Your first schooling will be in electronics or communications or seagoing engineering. Your basic nuclear power schooling will be at land-based nuclear power plants. You'll take some breaks now and then, short stretches of sea duty, and you can even take leave between school terms. When you complete this training, you'll be ready to join the Navy's modern nuclear fleet. The Navy's nuclear field program is no snap. There are brothers just like yourself doing it. You can do it too, man. Do you ever get the feeling you're going to be in a steno pool the rest of your life? Why don't you get into something that is interesting, important, and a challenge, like computers, photojournalism, dental technology, lithography, air control, or one of more than 30 different fields the Navy offers? All this is yours in the new Navy, and you will receive the same pay as a man doing the same job, and get the same advancements as a man. It may sound a little scary and unfamiliar to you now. Specialty schools will take care of that. They lay it all out for you. It isn't a case of passing or flunking on your own. The instructors are there to help you over any hang-up. They work with you because they want to see you make it. After completion, you may go on to advanced training or into interesting work as an air control tower operator, or a link trainer instructor, or photographer, or wherever your specialties point. You know, your duties may take you all across the United States, or to England, Italy, Hawaii, or other choice overseas locations. Remember what I said earlier. Pay that's equal to a man's. Advancement equal to a man's. Hey, man, hold it. Wait a minute. Got a job to get to, huh? Then study all night, classes tomorrow, then work again. If that's too much of a hassle, hey, it's got to be another way. Those two guys you just passed back there, the ones in the Navy uniforms, well, they're freshmen just like you. As a matter of fact, one of them plans to major in political science, just like you. The other fellow's going into engineering, but they've got an edge. Something else going for them. They're both in the Naval Reserve Officers Training Corps. They're free to choose their own majors from a selected list, and the Navy picks up most of the tab. That's what I mean, you know, they pick up the biggest part of the bread. And the Navy pays for their tuition fees, books, uniforms, and then gives them $100 a month to put in their slide beside, you understand? They attend some classes in the Naval Sciences each week, and they go on a 6-week cruise in the summer. Now that's a gas. That's a great cruise, and it gives them a chance to stop off at some interesting ports.
Sure, it's something in addition to their regular college work. But you know what one midshipman said? It gives you something that other students can't get. They aren't going to graduate for almost 4 years, but they already have jobs. They don't knock themselves out just meeting expenses, and when they graduate, they'll be commissioned ensigns in the United States Navy, or they might be second lieutenants in the Marine Corps. I'm not telling you the NROTC takes everybody that knocks on their door, but if you have what it takes, the Navy recruiter is the man to get you straight. So, you're a law student, huh? You got a future ahead of you. You'll join a big law firm. Then there are the years of doing legwork for the more senior lawyers and handling briefs in the back room. Then, if you prove out, you can carry some other lawyers' briefcases around. Well, there's a law firm that will give you valuable courtroom experience almost immediately if you're ready. The name of the firm? The U.S. Navy. In the Navy JAG Corps, you will go to work as a practicing attorney, and that means at work in a courtroom, you understand?
My name is Trevor G. Bryan. I'm a member of the Judge Advocate General Corps, United States Navy. This is probably the only area where you can start off as a young lawyer handling your own cases and get the wide variety of experience that I've had. One of the things I will say, again, as regards being a black lawyer in the Navy, is that requests are coming in from almost all over the world, actually. The Philippines, anywhere for black lawyers to represent black clients. And it's a very serious matter. And I think that an individual who is reform-minded, who is interested in the problems and the issues that face military people, who is interested in challenging legal issues and challenging trial practice, could find much in terms of experience, much to grow on in the practice of Navy law.
If you haven't completed your degree, the Navy has programs that will enable you to finish law school. The Navy recruiter has all the answers. So if you're a graduating law student or have some law school left, and you have what it takes, the Navy has a practice for you. You don't know where it is? All around the world. Next month, you step up and get your big fat diploma. Beautiful. The next step is a big job. You may not believe this, but the Navy has been waiting for you to graduate. Yeah, you. Listen, you know, the Navy has something special for you. A chance to be a Navy officer. And that's more than just a job. It's responsibility at the management level. It's decision-making, leadership, personal participation. It's rewarding, too, you know. Satisfying can happen all over the world. You could be working in public affairs or meteorology, or information and education, counseling, communications, data processing, personnel, supply, administration, whatever your talent suggests. Actually, it doesn't matter what you studied in college, whether it was music or mathematics. The important thing is that you have what it takes to get an education. That means you have what it takes to become a naval officer. The Navy provides airy, spacious living quarters, but the trend is now to cut out and find your own apartment. You know, girls still like the privacy of their own bed, you know, and a place to entertain their friends. As a naval officer candidate, you'll get your indoctrination training here at the Newport, Rhode Island base, and you'll be going to school with the men officer candidates. As a matter of fact, except for some of the engineering courses in PT, all the classes are now co-ed, you dig? Most of the courses will be Navy studies, along with science, math, and leadership. And yes, you will go on a Navy ship. On completion, you will be commissioned an ensign in the U.S. Naval Reserve.
Congratulations again, and welcome aboard.
Now an officer and a lady with a capital L, you understand? You've already done the hard part. You've almost completed college. Now step on up to the Navy. Hey, Hey, brother, would you like to fly? That's right, fly. Fly Navy. Navy air is something else, and the men who do it are a special breed. In all the world, only a few thousand men have mastered the skies from the deck of a ship. It all starts right here in Pensacola, Florida, Annapolis of the air. Here at Naval Aviation Schools Command, you'll get your basic indoctrination, instructions in aviation science, and physical training. The Navy doesn't need dead heroes, you know what I mean? So they teach you how to stay alive. On land and in the sea. You'll get dunked, muddy, cooked, and chilled. You'll find that when you're hungry enough, common weeds taste like soul food, you dig, and keep you going. You'll survive, which is the idea of the whole thing, you know what I mean? And you'll graduate with a commission of ensign in the Navy. About here, you begin to specialize in a special type of aircraft. Maybe you're a jet man. You know what I'm talking about? Well, a multi-engine type, selected to fly the long-range patrol, anti-submarine or logistical support thing. Or maybe it's helos for you, you know, helos instead of helicopters. Whatever. You go on to intensive training, and you come out with wings on your chest, you understand? You join the elite now. You are no longer just someone, you are someone special. But maybe you take a different tack and train to become a naval flight officer. An air crew member who operates the complex electronic systems of the aircraft, early warning systems operations, electronic countermeasures, tactical data systems, anti-submarine tactical, coordination, bombing, and in navigation, or radar intercept. And that's a whole lot.
That Navy flight training is really special. My name is Fred Boone, and I know. I completed Navy flight training some years ago, and I know it to be the best in the world. Not only do I know it to be the best in the world, but most airlines know it to be the best in the world, too. Just 6 weeks after I was discharged, I had a job with one of the best companies here in America. And the main reason I was hired, I tell you, was because I was trained by the Navy. Navy flight training also prepares you for many other fields, in addition to the one I'm interested in, that it prepares you for anything you want to do in life. It's not only the technical training you get, it's the sheer confidence that it builds in you. It gives you a sense of pride that will let you do just about anything that you choose to do with your life.
But maybe flying isn't your thing. Okay, understand. You'd still like to move into the responsible decision-making leadership position. And immediately, right? In civilian employment, you might be a trainee for a long time. Navy Officers Candidate School is for men who want to move immediately toward responsibility. Responsibility of a division officer aboard ship.
That picture there on the wall is of Jesse L. Brown. He was the Navy's first black naval aviator. And the ship that we were on is named after him. And that represents the Navy first. There are quite a few firsts in the Navy these days. I've been around for about 16 years now, and I've seen quite a few important changes occur in the Navy. I think that from my own point of view, most of the changes have been positive. But I think what we're talking about is the kind of improvement that is important to a black man. And that is the fact that if you are capable, and if you are able to get a job done, that you can do it in this man's Navy today. The kind of thing I'm talking about is a guy that's willing to get down with the program, that if he knows what he wants to do or is willing to let somebody offer something to him that he can do,
then all he has to do is have the initiative and the willingness to get with it. The opportunity exists.
The responsibility of taking charge of the work, the welfare, the advancement of 10 to 50 men. You might be in operations where you'd be responsible for communications, navigation, and tactical operation of the ship. You could work in the executive department, become a staff officer, an oceanographer, civil engineer, meteorologist, specialist in naval intelligence. Your salary, even as a junior Navy officer, is competitive with civilian employment. And with it comes use of officers' clubs and Navy exchange tours, airline discounts, and medical care. All this and you earn 30 days paid annual vacation. You can expect promotions and pay boosts on a fairly regular basis. You get in addition regular pay increases due to time and service. If excitement, adventure, travel, responsibility, and advancement appeals to you, talk it over now. Go see your Navy recruiting officer. The Navy's been waiting for you to graduate, both of you. The whole world's been waiting too. Well, that's it. It's what's happening in the new Navy. It's opportunity, advancement, good pay, equality, and a lot of things that count. The new Navy is together, all together. And another thing, when you see that brother or sister at the recruiting office, do me a favor, Jim. Tell them dude I'll send you.